You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh, yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bro Down Podcast. I'm Tim Fulton.
I'm Andy Smith.
And this is Fight Fan Weekly.
Fight Fan Weekly.
On Fight Fan Weekly, we talk about MMA news, and sometimes, more importantly, we do a fight forecast for the upcoming fights. This weekend, we have UFC 240, I already forget, 246. I have to check. Yeah, 246. Cowboy Cerrone versus Conor McGregor.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're going to be talking about the two top fights. We're going to be starting off first talking about Holly Holm versus Raquel Pennington.
Raquel
So,
Welch.
during the fight forecasts, basically what happens is I distribute my non-knowledge and non-knowingness of anything, and Andy corrects all of my mistakes and actually imparts knowledge on us. The last time I saw Holly Holm fight, I don't think she's fought since we started this whole thing. I'm pretty sure that's accurate.
It was in July.
Did we watch that?
Started this in October?
Yeah. So the last time I saw Holly Holm fight was when she knocked out, what's her name?
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. That's the only time I've seen her fight, ever.
It's been a couple weeks at least.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of
since
time.
then. Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit of time.
A little bit of time. Lots happened since then.
A couple of things.
Couple.
And I have no idea who Raquel Pennington is.
You've seen her fight. I'm sure I've made you watch her fight in the past. And I think we did watch the last Holly Holm. It's when she fought Amanda Nunes. She got knocked out.
I don't remember. I don't
Title fight.
I don't remember what I had for breakfast, dude.
All right, fair enough. So give us your thoughts on the fight.
Well, Holly Holm is a fantastic striker with a boxing background.
She is.
A kickboxing background?
She has probably both, but she was a boxer.
I know she was a boxer, but boxer or kickboxer?
Well, she's both, but she had professional boxing bouts.
Okay.
She was like an 11-time world champ.
Okay.
Or something.
So I'm going with Holly Holm on this one.
That's a good pick.
Thanks.
Yeah, Holly Holm. I think that she's had a rough last couple fights, only because she's only gets top of the heap since the whole Ronda Rousey fight.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to get non-murderers when you are the former champ.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
yeah, Raquel Pennington is no slouch. She's very good, but I think that Holly Holm, she's been in there with the best of the best. She's fought literally the best of the best.
Yeah.
In every era.
To say she's seasoned is the understatement of the year.
And she hasn't always won, but she's performed at least well against most of them, to the point where it's competitive with most of them. The only exception I'd say would be Amanda Nunes.
What's her ground game like? Because I've only really ever seen her stand up.
Here's the thing. In the beginning, it was sketchy.
Okay.
Just because she's very good at keeping people off of her.
Yeah.
So when you're that good of a striker, there's a couple ways to argue it. It's almost like you want to kind of put all your eggs in the defensive basket and the getting back to my feet basket, as opposed to the I'm going to become this submission expert now.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
why would you almost?
Yeah, so a lot of times when you see high-level strikers like her, either they don't want to learn it at all, or they mainly go towards more of a wrestling defense, knowing how to get back up off the canvas if you do get taken down, and submission defense. I mean, they're obviously going to learn the moves along the way.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do it to the level and put their eggs in that basket when they have another thing that they excel so well at. At least my opinion, painting with a broad brush.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Holly Holm, her ground game, because she's fought at the level that she's had, she can't be total. She's not inept there.
Yeah.
But you can't put her against the best grappler in the world and expect her to win a tournament in jiu-jitsu. It's not going to happen. So I think that Holly Holm is seasoned enough. She's been there with enough high-level competition, and she's proven that she can and do it very well, is stick to her game plan and stick with what got her to the dance. And, yeah, I think she's a tactician, and I think she's going to come away with the win because of that.
Oh, wow. We agree on one.
Yeah. I just think that, like I said, her experience and just her skill set, I think, is just going to be, even though she's had some rough fights and she's getting a little up there, I think it's just going to be a little too much for Raquel.
Okay.
Yeah. And she hits hard as fuck, too.
All right. And then the fight that everyone cares about, McGregor versus Cerrone.
McGregor versus Cowboy.
So what are your initial thoughts on this?
I got a lot of thoughts on this. My initial thoughts is everyone thinks they know what is going to happen.
That's true. That's true.
And I would say, like, this is why I like to watch the fights, because I don't know what's going to happen.
Ooh.
But, okay, so let's cover a couple fields here. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Who do you think has more ways to win?
See, a lot of this is going to be hard for me to answer because I've seen Cowboy fight multiple times in depth. I've seen McGregor fight, but I wasn't paying attention.
Okay.
No, but in all seriousness, I wasn't had the same commitment level then that I did now. It's been
I understand.
It's been a super long time. I wasn't paying attention to what's his stand-up game, what's his ground game, what is his defense like.
Yeah.
Like, I know he has a ridiculous amount of bouts in him. He's only had 2 losses. How much that actually means, it really depends on a lot of different factors. I know McGregor has hard fists. But he's going up in weight.
Yeah.
Cowboy's been at 170 for a while.
He's gone both.
Cowboy?
Cowboys fought at 170 and 155. But
Yeah.
so has Connor. But Connor only fought Nate at 170.
Yeah. So who has more ways to
Do you know what I mean by more ways to win?
No, I know exactly
Yeah.
what you mean. I'm just trying to think this through. I guess I'm going to
I'll rephrase the question.
shoot.
Could you see Donald Cerrone submitting Conor McGregor?
No, that's fair. I was leaning towards McGregor to begin with, having more ways to win.
See, I'm disagreeing with you on this one.
Ooh.
See, if you look at in the past, how has McGregor won his fights?
I wasn't paying attention.
He's won most of them. It's kind of an unfair question because you haven't been following it, so it's kind of like I'm unintentionally like baiting you here into a corner. But
So what's this? You're wrong.
yeah, so I don't want to do that because so Conor McGregor knocks people out.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
Yeah.
Donald does the same thing, but Donald also submits people.
Okay.
Okay? When Conor knocks people out, he's got a heavy left hand, and that left hand paves the road for the knockout. When Donald does it, Donald doesn't have that kind of one-punch gift that Conor has in that left hand. So when he knocks people out, it's more of an accumulation or a flurry or a combination that's put together beautifully. And then after he hurts you, he's not just going to try to only finish you. Like if Conor hurts you, it's not that it's his only option, but his main go-to is I now have to finish you with punches. Donald will hurt you and then take your back and choke you.
Okay.
So there's a big difference in that because if somebody's hurt for a split second, they're way easier to submit, whereas they might be able to hang on and not get knocked out and cover up. Donald has more ways to get checkmate. Conor McGregor, not that he only has one, but history is showing us, painting with a broad brush, that if Conor McGregor is going to win, it'll be either a decision or he's going to knock Cowboy out. Cowboy could finish him submission. So that's a big difference.
Yeah, it is.
And also looking at it, Donald can take people down. Donald can wrestle a little bit. Conor has great takedown defense, but I don't think Conor's going to take Donald Cerrone down.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start looking at these factors, even if you're assuming that Conor's power is going to transfer to 170, let's say, because if we're saying that Cowboy's fought both at 170 and 155, and he's been knocked out at both weight classes, then Conor McGregor's fought at both weight classes, and he's at least dropped people in both weight classes.
Yeah.
One of which has had one of the harder chins that we've ever seen, Nate Diaz. So if we take into it now that Donald doesn't really probably have to worry about Conor taking him down. In terms of if he takes him down, now Conor has to worry about submissions. Whereas Donald is like, if I take McGregor down, I really don't have to worry about submissions as much as Conor has to worry about submissions with me. So now when you're doing a striking match, one guy is worried about getting taken down way more than the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one less thing that he has to think about. So every low kick, every kick that's caught, McGregor has to be anticipating the takedown because it's a possibility. Whereas Donald can be a little more free and only worry about the stand-up because it's like if I get taken down, I don't think Donald feels threatened by McGregor's ground game. I just don't think he feels threatened by it.
Yeah.
Because he is known for throwing up some crafty submissions, and Conor don't want to play with him there. So when you look at it like that, this is quickly becoming kind of a where's the fight going to take place?
Yeah. Is it going to take place on their feet or is it going to take place on the ground?
Yeah. And if McGregor can't keep Donald from taking him down, which I think he can, at least early in the rounds, but it's another thing that's going to inhibit Conor's footwork and his stand-up.
Yeah. Almost alternatively, though, I've seen Cerrone enjoy the competition a little too much. He almost kind of likes a challenge when it's presented to him.
Yeah.
Like, if someone comes to... I'm not, like you like to say, broad brush, but if someone comes to him with a strong ground game, or stand-up game, excuse me, he likes to accept that challenge.
He's crazy.
He's crazy. I love the dude.
Yeah.
But, like... so I see 100% what you're saying, but I'm nervous that if it stays on their feet for too long, he'll see it as this is gonna be a punching match, and I'm game for it.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's gonna work in his favor as much as we would hope.
It would make, if you were a strategist and you were looking at these guys on paper, taking out their personalities, taking out past history other than their record and what their statistics show.
Yep.
It would probably behoove you to give Donald Cerrone advice to keep McGregor thinking and threaten the takedown.
Yeah.
Specifically because of one incident that happened in McGregor versus Khabib. Khabib was not known as the best stand-up guy. Khabib is one of the few men that has dropped Conor with a punch.
Mm-hmm.
So why is that? In my opinion, it's partly and more mainly because Conor is so worried about the takedown. He's not focusing on the stand-up offensively from Khabib. So
That makes sense.
because he's so worried about it, Khabib throws something. He's thinking about what's coming after this. What's coming after these punches that I have to worry about? Forgetting about the punches themselves.
Yeah.
So when you start thinking that way, it becomes more interesting. Because I heard a lot of people say, oh, McGregor's going to knock Cerrone out. Cerrone's old, long in a tooth. He's had too many wars, which is true. But then you could say some of the same things going the other way for McGregor. Donald Cerrone is a notoriously slow starter.
Yeah.
He doesn't get going quickly in fights. McGregor is a notoriously fast starter. He's known for getting guys out of there early.
Yeah.
Which, that's a big factor. Where you have a guy who punches it right off the line, gets in your face, and another guy who he has got to warm up. He's got to get hit a couple times before those light switches start flicking on. And the issue is that can he get going taking a couple punches from Conor? Because it's not just that Conor has power. Conor's one of the most accurate strikers in the UFC. Like the way that he lands and when he chooses and picks his spots, he usually touches you. Most times he throws shit. and it's
he's a smart fighter, which is a lame way of putting it, but he's a smart fighter.
Yeah,
like,
but it takes skill too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's no wasted energy there.
Yeah, and it's been mentioned before, and I actually was listening to earlier this week Chael Sonnen talking about this, where everyone gives Conor McGregor shit saying that his cardio is dog shit, and I've been guilty kind of the same thinking sometimes, but Sonnen made a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, with what he's trying to get out is you have a set amount of energy that you can get to before you just can't get any more energy when you're training. So when you have to fight for 25 minutes, you have to expend it over that whole time. If you dump your foot on the gas in the beginning, of course you're going to be more tired if you don't get the finish. There's an old saying in boxing where if you go for the knockout and you don't get it, you will not win a decision. That's because if you dump your gas tank out trying to knock someone out and they're still standing, you're now exhausted and they're not.
Yeah.
So Conor has done that. He did that with Nate in the first fight. He tried to knock Nate out and he didn't do it.
Yeah.
And he was exhausted. And then that's what happened. And people say, "Oh, well, his cardio sucks." It's like, well, yeah, if me and you are running on a lap on a track and we have to run 5 miles, and we both run the same, relatively same pace, but in the first mile I sprint for a mile flat out. I just sprint as fast as I can, but you keep the steady pace. I'm probably not going to win that race because I'm going to be exhausted.
Yeah.
I'm
Fair.
going to be ahead of you for a little bit, but then you're just going to catch up.
Yeah.
As long as you don't break your ankle. You know what I mean? So
Good analogy. No, that's a really good analogy.
yeah, it's there's so many factors to this fight. I don't think it's as clear cut as everyone thinks it is, because I fear a lot of people for Donald, a lot of people for McGregor. This is going to be very interesting. This is going to be a very where the fight takes place and how quickly the fight starts. There's so many factors in this.
So now I'm going to throw you the question that you're not going to want to answer, but that's the whole point of this segment.
Yeah.
Who do you have on this fight?
I think
I'm going to pose two different questions to you. Who do you have on this fight, and who do you want?
I want both guys to win.
That's not an answer.
I don't want anyone to lose.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard, you fucking hippie.
Peace.
Peace, love, and happiness.
I would say this is one of those. I usually have a gut feeling, even if I don't say that I do. My gut is telling me nothing on this.
Okay.
It's telling me nothing. If I think about it,
Tie.
Yeah. If I think about it for a second, I would say that the smart bet would be Conor knocking Cowboy out early in the fight.
Okay.
Because Cowboy has been in so many wars and everything, that's what I would guess. But the thing that's making me not say that with any kind of confidence is that it's at 170.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because Donald is a bigger guy just in general than Conor. He might not have as much muscle or whatever, but I think he has a bigger frame than Conor. Conor doesn't want to get too big, I don't think, for this fight. So Conor might only weigh in at 168. He might not even hit the 170 mark because you feel sluggish and all that stuff because he used to fight 155. Before that, he fought at 145.
Yeah.
So your whole life, you're that small, and then all of a sudden, in a short amount of time, you're bigger. So
it's a big adjustment.
It's a big adjustment. Then you got to worry about cardio issues and all this other stuff. So I think Donald is going to come in a more solid 170, where like I might have to cut a little bit or whatever. Whereas Conor's going to look fantastic at 170 because he's not killing himself to cut weight. But I think whatever Conor comes in at, I don't think he's cutting weight. I think he's just walking in the cage or walking onto the scale. I don't think he's going to walk on the scale at 168 and then go into the fight 178. I think he's going to be whatever he was at the scale. But I think his power does translate to 170 because he knocked Nate down twice in the second fight. Mm-hmm. But then again, at 155, when he hits people with those shots, they get knocked out. So how much does it translate?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I I would say that I would probably say Conor within the first 2.
Okay.
I say every round it goes past round every time it goes past round 3, anything from 3 on, it gets more in favor of Donald Cerrone. I say the first 2 rounds are dangerous as fuck for Cerrone. 3 and beyond are when Cerrone can
Make
take
the
over.
magic happen.
Yeah, I'd say Conor's best chance to get a fantastic knockout is in the first 2 rounds.
Fair.
But that's not a secret. So I didn't just come up with some prolific fucking thing. That's like 98% of people probably would say that. But who the fuck knows? I like Cowboy though, man. I like both of these guys.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the fight?
I mean, without just repeating all the things that you said, I'm going to also say Conor's going to get this fight. Again, I haven't seen him fight with the same retention that I've been having within the past 6 months, 8 months, however long it's been. I think in that time we've seen Cowboy fight 2 or maybe even 3 times. And I don't think his track record this past year has been his best. The reason I'm giving it to McConnor without going to specifics of like what will happen and why is I've seen Cowboy lose to guys who I do not think have the same caliber that McGregor has. There are several factors going for Cowboy. One, obviously the weight, like we just discussed. His walking weight is probably not the same as Conor, although Conor came out with a picture recently that was fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, but he's only 160 something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the weight is in his factor. McGregor has been gone for 3 years, and there is a lot of hype on this, and that does play mental games with people. Cowboy
He fought Khabib. It's only been a year about.
Oh, it's only been 1 year? What?
3 years since he fought Nate the last time, or since he fought and won his last fight.
Okay.
He's fought Mayweather and Khabib in there, but I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
So that almost doubles down on my point. There's a lot of pressure on McGregor for this fight, because he's coming off of, I mean, the boxing one doesn't count. It does, but it doesn't. But he's coming off of a loss. It's been a long time since he's had a win. He's coming out of retirement. He's not the time gap is not going to be in his favor, and everyone's expecting him to win. Not everyone, but I would venture to say a majority of people are expecting him to win, and they're kind of setting him up to steamroll this into what's next, right? The UFC is banking on, and I mean that in a literal sense, a Khabib McGregor too.
Question before you go on to the next thing about what you said before that.
Shoot.
Do you think that all this added pressure and everything like that, specifically to McGregor, do you think that makes him perform better or worse in the cage?
I wouldn't put money on it, but I would say worse. We're all people, and pressure gets to us in one way or the other.
I would probably wholeheartedly disagree.
Okay.
Only because his past fights, the more pressure that's on his shoulders, the better he performs.
Okay.
The only one that doesn't prove it in is against the best in the world in Khabib Nurmagomedov. But the issue with that one was, and he admitted this, that he let training camp go away. He was kind of letting the money go to his head and all that. Even his coaches, his coaches are like awkwardly candid with media. And they were even saying during the camp, like, yeah, he's kind of just doing whatever he wants during the Khabib fight. And they said this camp, they're like, nope, he's back. He's on track and all this stuff. And he is one of those guys where I think when it comes to the pressure, he needs to have a ton of it on the line or something on the line that means something to him to go in there and win. And I think he's one of the rare guys that the more pressure on his shoulders, he performs better. I could be wrong. You could be right. But from what I've seen, he's a rare case where if the more pressure, the better. The more pressure, the better. But anyway, sorry, go ahead. Because that's a rare thing to have that. Most guys don't perform that well under pressure.
Under pressure. But yeah, that about sums up my point.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it.
I would want to see Cowboy to win. I'm not a McGregor fan. I'm gonna be one of those people who show up to see him lose.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
a little rough.
I'm still, and I know
What did
this
he do to
is.
What did he do to you?
He didn't do anything to me personally. I'm still mad about the whole punching an old man in the face thing.
Kind of a jerk. Kind of a jerk.
I hope you lose
Forgive.
too.
Forgiveness. Forgiveness.
Well, I'm
Yeah,
not preaching forgiveness.
He hasn't had the best track record. That's to say the least.
Yeah, and I know this is all for the sport and the trash talk is the thing, blah blah blah. But did you hear he was like, "Oh, I would beat Cowboy in any weight class. I'd beat him with the flu." He says that recently. It bothered me. I like Cowboy. Don't fuck with Cowboy.
All right. That's it.
That's it. Tell us who you think is going to win in the comments down below. Tell us all the reasons why we're wrong for the way we think.
Yeah.
Go to brodownpro.com and buy our stuff. So we don't care what you think. No, just kidding.
Jesus.
You should feel bad too. And yeah, we'll be coming out next week with the review, which should be exciting.
Oh yeah.
UFC is finally back. It has been a hot minute.
Yeah.
It's been a
like,
while, dude.
It was a good break because I'm now hyped up again.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
I don't know what to do with my life.
So, all right. Like
right.
and subscribe.
We'll see you guys next
See
time.
you next time.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh